Oh, look at this one right here. This is a really nice parabolic SWI SWE. This is really, really nice. And I want to get in this one here. I just kind of popped it up on scan, so I apologize. I'm talking real fast here. I want to try to get a fill in here at 46, at least a starter, and then I'll just kind of go over the trade here with you real quick. It's got a wacky spread, but let me see if I can get in close to 46 here, just as a starter. There we go. Okay. Looks like we got 300 here at 45.93. And I'm going to put an order in real quick at 45 to cover this, just in case it flushes while I'm talking. So first I want you to just kind of look at the para, and I want you to look at the difference between this kind of parabolic and what you saw with AVGO, because there's two lessons that we're going to learn here. One, with AVGO, you saw a really nice para in the post-market, followed through with the pre-market, and then when the market opened, it really gapped up. So it had like a lot of time, you know, in hours that stock was running up. This one's a little bit different. It's like the old style pump and dumps where you got absolutely nothing going on. You look at the 5-minute chart up top, and there's nothing. This thing has nothing whatsoever, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, supernova shoots straight up in the air, two back-to-back huge candles from 42 up to 47. You know, it's got to be 100% news-driven. The second thing is we're looking at here is this is how it is sometimes as a trader. I'm taking this 100% off the RSI. You won't always have the opportunity to search the internet and scour Twitter to figure out what's going on. You're just going to have to trust your RSI and trust your process. So let's work off of this 46, see what happens. And real quick, I'm going to kind of switch screens here. Remember, I got an order of 45. I'm going to switch screens to kind of clean this up just a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Now, first let's talk about risk here and a couple of different ways to make this trade. And if I get filled down in here in the 45s, and then so be it. But you have a couple different ways to work it. What I like to at least do when you see this big RSI and this thing going para, I at least like to start out with a feeler. So 300 share size is an okay size for me. You'd have to adjust it based on your performance. It doesn't matter if it's 15, 20 shares, 50 shares, whatever level you are. It's just so you learn the process. I like to do that. That way, if it squeezes up a little bit, maybe to the next whole number of 47 or 48, I've left myself room to add to a position like this. And that way, if it squeezes there, it's not so painful. Because if you go in for like 2,000 and it squeezes on you another $2, you're gonna get shaken, or you're gonna be upside down, and all that anxiety stuff we talked about earlier is gonna come into play. With these wicks that you have on top of the 5-minute chart here, you could easily use those now as stop losses. So you could use the top portion of this candle, which would be about 46.25, or you could stop out at the high of day. And I think that's probably what we would do in this case, because we've already got a red bar. And what that means is you've already got it now. Now the selling pressure is starting to come in. So the people that were long this stock, that were down here, that got in at 42 or 43, they're looking at this red right now, and if it gets larger, they're going to want to stop out on that position, because they're not going to want to let that gain turn into a loss, right? And then you got people who obviously chase this, not knowing about the RSI, not understanding parabolics, and think this is going to be a new revelation for this company. And they're just buying it at 46, and they probably got a lot of stops. So you can see how we're working at that whole number. If we can get a little bit more red, get down around that 45.70 area, we should be able to flush pretty quickly to 45. Now this one should work a little faster, no guarantees, but it should work a little bit faster than what you saw with AVGO, because you know, the faster they go up, the faster they'll usually pull back. So let's see if we can get a little move here real quick. See what it does. I mean, you can certainly see right now this 46 is the level. That's definitely where you got the action. It's trying to defend itself a little bit, but again, you have to trust the process. You have to trust the RSI. And if nothing else, let's say the trade doesn't work. The good thing you're learning here is how the RSI is a really good gauge of a stopping point. So let's say you really wanted to buy a stock like this. If you look down and you see the RSI is 85 or 90, it's best to wait, because nonetheless, it doesn't matter how this works out. The point is the RSI showed you where a good slow down point was for the stock, and allows you to assess what's in front of you, and allows you to make good decisions, right? That's what we're all in here for, is some good decisions. So to save time, for the sake of time, I'm just going to pause this here for a second. I'll stop out over high a day, We'll let this thing kind of play out a little bit. But just for the sake of time here, I'll come back. If we start to pop up towards high day, I'll walk you through that. If we start to push down, I'll come back then and we can kind of walk through it. But you can see really 46 right now. Struggling a lot here with 46. You can see how it's pulling off. That probably should be the stop right up there around the 45.20s. Now, if we get under this, excuse me, the 46.20s, if we get under this 45.20 piece here, 45.50s, excuse me, that should roll over pretty quick down to 45. So let's see what happens. We'll give it a minute or two here. As again, sake of time, I'll come back and update you on this trade. Okay, let's just kind of look at it here again. One of the things I mentioned earlier was we're constantly, as traders, we're looking at levels, right? We're going back and we're looking at the nearest support resistance levels that we can deal with. And I would have liked to, of course, have this flush down, but most of your trades, you will have to work for them. They won't always be so easy. You just won't get into the top ticket or bottom ticket, and it works out perfectly. But you can see we have the 46. We mentioned the resistance there. I've got this 45.40 here, which was the bottom of that candle. You can see that is short-term support for this thing. You see how it's trying its best to fight off of that level. So when we got into this trade, it was 100% off the RSI. Now that we're in it, not only do we have the high RSI still, but we also have some different levels to work with that we didn't have. We have more data now. One of those is we know that 46.20, if this holds in this area, 46.20 goes. Most likely it trades up to the top here. If this 45.40 goes to the downside, we should flush out and start shaking out some of these stops and get our 45 target. Now, a lot of these times these things will, there we go, that's nice. A lot of these times will flush out a lot faster, but remember, we're using this support, resistance, and everything to help us gauge where we stand as traders. Because as I said, you want to, as a trader, you want to take a trade and you want it to work out in 3 seconds, right? We wish every trade was be like that. You hit the button, you're never red, things just shoots right in your favor. You collect your money and you do 2 or 3 of those a day, and everything's great. It's not like that. You know, most of your, about 85-90% of your trades, you're going to have to work for it. It's going to be these moments that define us as traders, that separates us from success and failures. When we look at stuff like this, not being shaken out at 46, being able to read the tape here, being able to read the action, seeing the support, seeing the resistance, seeing how the rejection at the 46.20, staying in the trade is going to allow us to profit. So we'll see if we can pick up a quick buck here. I don't know if it's going to happen on this bar, the next bar, but we've definitely cut underneath of that 45.40, so we should flush down in there. You know, maybe it'll retrace a little bit lower, but I'm going to put an order in at 40. Yeah, I still got the order in there at 45. So let's see if I can get a fill. And you can see it's still trying. You know, each dip or each pull, you've got some support in there. But since we took out that bottom there, you know, it might push around a little bit on this candle. We should be able to get underneath of that there. Let's give it a minute here or two. And just, you know, just look at the action. You know, when you're looking at each one of these candles are separate, and they'll tell their own story in this. You know, if this thing doesn't, it might bounce a little bit. You might get a little green, and that's how people cover sometimes. They panic, right? They'll panic and they'll cover. But, you know, it might pop a little bit or try, but we're going to learn a lot about this bar right here. If this thing is unable really to go green very quick, then it should continue to roll over a little bit. So might take a little bit of time. Again, this is part of patience, trusting your process. We went into this 100% off the RSI. I still don't even know what the news is yet on this. Just trading at 100% off the RSI. We're working off of 46. Definitely 46 would be our stop here for sure. We could definitely do a break even here, but we should get down to about the bottom piece of this candle, slightly under the 45s. But if it wants to render me 45 here, then I'll go ahead and take it. But you can see it. It's not bouncing. You see the pressure? See how that candle's coming in there? See how that thing's coming in? It's just a matter of time. It's pretty close. We've got like 8 cents. You can get me. Come and get me. But still, the most important thing that we're learning here, or that I want you to pay attention to, is it's not bouncing. You're getting that pull. The longs are getting tired. They're getting a little, some people got some profit. Some people are upside down from 46. You can feel the pressure, and it should trade from one whole number to the next whole number. The market loves these whole numbers. So 45.11, it's close. And you could take your 241 here and walk away. But there we go. Should be down there. I got a little bit of a fill there. Filled me at 200, so I got 100 left. Try to get the other 100 there. I mentioned that when I got in. It's kind of a weird spread on this one. Sometimes it's like that. There we go. Okay, we're all filled. So, not bad. 278 on that. You see, still a little bit of flush, but always remember looking at these parabolics. One, you're learning to trust what it is that you're seeing in the chart first and foremost. The second thing is you're not being shaken out by using support, resistance, and understanding these inflection points. Keeps you from being shaken out as a trader, and this is what makes you money. And this is just a small trade, 300 shares, a really quick pull in 15 minutes. You could do this with 1,000 shares or 2,000 shares. All you got to do is learn the process first, then add the shares later, and you can make whatever you want up. So hope you learned a little bit. Look, it's still going down there, but a really, really nice fade. A really good example of how parabolics work on SWE. Pulled it up real quick right off the scan. So really, really nice trade.